So X-Men was good. It's not great. It's not bad enough to be horrible. But it's not like, good enough to be great. It's good. It's definitely not as bad as everyone says it is. And I really want to stress that. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was great. I didn't love it. I just thought it wasn't as bad as everyone else, has been saying it was. One of the earliest reviews I read for the movie was, this movie, really to quote it, this movie is a franchise-ending disaster of a film. A franchise-ending disaster. I didn't think it was that bad. Had a lot of problems. It was a huge step down from the last X-Men movie. Hell, it was a huge step down from fucking Deadpool. Okay, it was a big step down from that one. But I didn't think it was horrible. I saw this movie as a matinee, and for a very cheap price, it was fun. I had a lot of fun, and maybe that was because I read so many reviews, which I never should do, that just lowered my expectations bit by bit by bit, that maybe when I just went to the movies with the lowest expectations possible, I actually liked it for what it was. And really, yeah, that's all I can say about this movie is that if you like X-Men, and if you know X-Men, you're gonna like the movie with it. But really, if you're gonna actually, criticize it and analyze it on a technical level, the movie's bad. Very bad movie. I have a lot of problems with this movie. But just as a guilty pleasure film, it's still watchable. It's still, I don't want to kill myself after watching it. Let's put my review of that on the box for this movie when it comes out on DVD. Well, I didn't feel like killing myself, but it just was alright. It was okay. I think my main problem with the movie is that nobody feels like they want to be there. Pretty much, well, okay, there's some exceptions. Pretty much everyone from First Class on, with an exception to Jennifer Lawrence, actually does want to be there. They actually are very energized, and they actually are putting their all into it. James McAvoy. Michael Fassbender has probably the best scene, with an exception, the Quicksilver scene in the entire movie. The most emotional scene in the entire movie. He's always great. Specifically, I'm talking about Jennifer Lawrence and the 3 kid actors from this movie. Jubilee's not in the movie. Oh yeah, the spoilers, by the way. Jubilee is not in the movie. She's in it for maybe 5 minutes, and then that's it. I don't really care because I don't know anything about Jubilee. My problem with this is she's advertised, and she's going around in press tours like she's a big, major player in the movie, and she actually does something. She does nothing. I really mean it. She does nothing. You don't even get an idea of, what her powers are. And I would only know about her powers because people tell me about it, and I've seen a couple comics with her in it. They're like firework powers or some shit. But then again, that sounds stupid on its own. So they're probably like, no, let's not have that in there. That's really stupid. But why put her in the movie? Well, those 3 kid actors and Jennifer Lawrence just do not feel like they want to be there. Even in press tours, you just don't feel like they got any energy or they even want to be there, which is kind of sad. One of the only new actors that actually does feel like they have so much energy and enthusiasm for playing their respective role in the movie is Alexandra Shipp as Storm, who I much prefer over Halle Berry. No, she actually seems like a fan, and from what I know and from what I've seen in interviews, she does appear to be a fan. She has a lot of enthusiasm, and her whole personality just in itself in interviews is contagious. She actually looks like she's having fun playing this character in this movie. Aside from that, none of the new actors really make any kind of impression. They're not horrible, like the movie. They're not horrible. They just leave no impression whatsoever. They're just very, just, if it wasn't for them playing this character, I wouldn't remember them. I don't even remember some of their names. I only remember them by the characters that they play. Oh, that kid? Oh, he's the Cyclops. Yeah, he's Cyclops in it. Just, I don't know, very disappointing. But what I did like about the movie was that it was just entertaining. Very entertaining, and just, like I said, for a matinee movie, it was fun. It wasn't horrible, and it wasn't, all that memorable either, but if you just, look at it just as, oh, I'm just gonna eat some popcorn, sit back and watch a movie, in a nice air-conditioned theater, it's fun. And again, if you're an X-Men fan, you're gonna enjoy it. You're definitely gonna enjoy it. That's kind of the way I felt about them. I'm more of a fan of these new movies from First Class on. First Class is where I started to love the X-Men movies. So I'm more of a fan of this franchise of X-Men stuff, so to see, throwbacks, oh, hey, there's Sentinels from Days of Future Past, just blows my mind. But again, more on a technical level, the movie is bad. I want to admit that. I don't want you guys to get the impression I'm just an idiot who likes to see familiar imagery and that makes me happy. I'm not, because the movie, technically speaking, is horrible. It's very bad, and even some of the reviews I've read, I agree with wholeheartedly. But, just on a certain, it's not as bad as people are saying it. It just isn't. It's just alright. It's okay. Another bad part about the movie is the whole middle section. The middle section of the movie is just flat out useless. And again, spoilers, where they go to Alkali Lake and Stryker shows the fuck up and have Wolverine in there. Why? Well, because it's an X-Men movie and we need Wolverine in the movie somehow. Wolverine has had some kind of a role, some kind of a cameo at the very least, in every single X-Men movie. He's been through X-Men 1 through 3. He's had 2 of his own movies. He had a cameo in First Class, and he was in the last one. So we gotta have Wolverine in this movie somehow. But also an after credit scene, which is very okay. Again, like the movie, it's okay. If you know what that thing is, then you know and you're happy. You're fine. That's great. But it didn't really do anything for me. But no, it just was useless. It was useless. You could have done wholly without it. You could have gotten rid of that, chopped it up, and just away with it completely. Which is just so annoying to me that they didn't just do that, because there have been there's been much word of mouth that there were scenes with the younger cast in the mall, getting to know their characters more, that got, cut on the chopping room floor, but this didn't even a little bit. That's annoying as hell. And also it leaves a huge plot hole from the last X-Men movie, just completely unnoticed, which isn't really this movie's problem. This is really Days of Future Past problem. At the end of Days of Future Past, we see Stryker get Wolverine from the river, and then we see his eyes flash, and it's really Mystique posing as him. In this movie, it's never addressed. It's never addressed who or what or what was meant by that. That was more of a confusing. Even at the end of Days of Future Past, when I first saw it, I was just sitting there going, "What does that mean?" I don't know what that means. Does that mean that Wolverine gets the adamantium? Does that mean that Wolverine doesn't get the adamantium? It really makes sense that he doesn't get the adamantium, because in that movie she knows who Logan is. She knows Wolverine, and she would take him away and make sure he's safe. But no, apparently he's in Weapon X. Maybe that was just a mistake that they made in that movie and they wanted to retcon it here. But they don't make reference to it, and it just doesn't make any sense at all. And speaking of Jennifer Lawrence just does not give a shit to be in this movie anymore. I didn't think she was as bad. Again, didn't think she was as bad as everyone else was saying. But she obviously doesn't want to be in these movies anymore. If you want to do away with her, that's fine, because you can have a very easy, explanation for why it's not Jennifer Lawrence anymore. I mean, it's Mystique. She can shapeshift into anyone. She can get any other actress to, play her. It doesn't really matter. But she just doesn't really care to be in a movie anymore. Mostly because she's not even in makeup anymore as Mystique. She's maybe in it for 2 scenes, and they go by really quick. I'm not saying that you have to have her be in costume the whole movie. As long as she's interesting, that's fine, but she's not interesting. She seems totally uninterested in being in the movie, and it just rubs off on you as an audience member. I don't care that you're in this. Just do something. Be interesting. And also, something that it bothers me, and has bothered a lot of people, is that when they announced X-Men Apocalypse, way before even X-Men Days of Future Past was released, I just kind of assumed that they would go and they would continue with X-Men Apocalypse with the original cast members, because at the end of Days of Future Past, they make sure to make it clear that we have all the original actors back. We have Hugh Jackman. Oh, it's have to have Hugh Jackman. He's the most popular character. We have James Marsden and Cyclops, and Famke Janssen as Jean Grey, and even Kelsey Grammer still the Beast, and Anna Paquin as Rogue, and Daniel Ashmore, Iceman. We got him, and Ellen Page is Kitty Pryde, and some guy is Colossus, even though we just recast him in Deadpool. We have all these guys that we're going to continue on, but no, they don't do that with this movie. They just go and they do younger actors, which kind of baffled me. I was like, why would you cock tease at the end of this movie if you're not going to pull through with that in this movie? And I just assumed that was the way it was going to be done, because Apocalypse is like the X-Men's biggest villain like ever. That's at least from what I hear. And that's nothing. Apocalypse sucked. He was just Ronan the Accuser again. And even fans of the comics go, oh yeah, Apocalypse, he sucks. But that's neither here nor there. I would just assume that they were going to continue with the older cast members in X-Men Apocalypse, because Apocalypse is the biggest X-Men villain ever, so, and the older cast members have been the X-Men the longest, so continuing that as like the biggest thing that they've ever faced and challenged, just makes sense. But here it's the first thing that they challenge, and even the way that they defeat him is bullshit. They just use the Phoenix, and I guess you could argue, oh, the Phoenix is powerful enough to defeat Apocalypse. It's been doing it just doesn't make any sense from what they've been building up for him in this movie. Just a little annoying, very annoying. And also they shoot themselves in the foot by not using the older actors, because this movie takes place in the 1980s, 1983 to be exact. Now, each X-Men movie since First Class has been taking place 10 years, a decade after the last movie. So in X-Men First Class, we have it 1963. Days of Future Past, 1973. This movie, 1983. Okay, fine, makes sense. But the problem with that is, since they're using younger actors, why am I holding this up? Younger actors in this movie for Cyclops, Jean Grey, Storm, and Nightcrawler, you have the big problem of the next movie wanting to take place in the 1990s, that they don't look like any of the actors from the older movies, any of the older actors, because that movie was made in 1990. It was released in 2000, but it was made in 1990s. Filmed, written, and made 1990. So you're going to have them in the next movie in 1993, let's assume. They look nothing like any of these actors. And I know what you're saying, well, the movie was, older movie, the first movie was made in 1999, but that's only 6 years before, 6 years when the next movie takes place, 6 years before that. So, they look nothing like that at all, unless you just jump ahead and you use the older actors, which I guess would make sense. But then you have the problem, why did you introduce all these younger actors in this movie? Why don't you just do movies in the 80s from now on, and then just see them get progressively older, or something like that, like the Harry Potter movies, or some shit, okay? Because then you're just going to jump forward and you're going to use the older actors if you want to use the older actors, and it's going to be that makes no sense. They're only 10 years older, and they look 40 years older. It doesn't make any fucking sense at all. So that was a big problem, them using the younger actors in this movie. And again, they just weren't all that impressive. They didn't really leave an impact on anything. But overall, X-Men Apocalypse was okay. It wasn't bad. It wasn't as bad as everyone said it was. It was still entertaining. I can at least say that about it. Like the Star Wars prequels. People like to bitch and complain, oh, there's some of the worst movies ever. No, they're fucking not. They're bad on a story-driven and acting level. But on a technical scale, like a filmmaking scale, they're still well directed. They're still, choreographed fight scenes and stuff like that. Still not that bad. They're still entertaining. I can at least turn the volume off and at least say, that's cool. Hey, that's actually kind of cool. And the acting is still partially good in this one. It's something that, it's something that a good sequel cannot fix. They just come back and they do a better X-Men movie in the next one, it will be just fine. Although that was another big problem I have with this movie. It feels more like a setup for a better X-Men movie instead of just being a good X-Men movie. And that was a big problem that I had with Days of Future Past. But the thing about Days of Future Past is, yeah, it was setting up a better X-Men movie. Another good X-Men movie, I should say. Better, choice of words. It was setting up another good X-Men movie, which was this one, and, well, wasn't a good one, so there's that. But the thing about X-Men Days of Future Past is, that was already a great X-Men movie. It was just a great X-Men movie setting up another great X-Men movie, which, like I just said, didn't turn out to be a great X-Men movie. That was my problem with X-Men Apocalypse. It was trying to be a great X-Men movie, didn't end up being a great X-Men movie, and was trying to set up a better X-Men movie by introducing all these new, younger actors. It's nothing that I think that they can't get over. It's minor problems. Well, not minor, they're pretty major, but they're major problems that, can't just be glossed over in a sequel. They can just fix them all and then just make a better sequel. Don't reboot this shit.